Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robert Scott. This is Clint Wallace. Welcome back to In the Office with Scott and Wallace. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m., we like to interact with everyone on Facebook and social media in general. And so we'd love to answer any questions you may have. As you probably noticed, we were not on the air last Tuesday at 2. We, like everyone else in this area, were prepping for Hurricane Michael, which has been really just an ultimate tragedy in this part of the country and really straight up through the southeast, affected not just Florida but Georgia and South Carolina, even North Carolina and Virginia. But if you are watching in any of our office locations, you probably have been to the Big Bend, the coastline on Big Bend, the Forgotten Coast, spent time in Apalachicola or St. George Island, Alligator Point, Shell Point. A lot of these areas have just been devastated, and I know you'll talk a little bit about Mexico Beach in a minute, but first of all, I just want to say our hearts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, go out to everyone who is still struggling with the aftermath of Hurricane Michael. I know there's still people out there without power, and if there's anything we can do on that front, just please let us know.
A shout out to the linemen on that. They've been doing an incredible job. It's amazing.
It's been
what
very
they've been
impressive.
Able to do. Yeah.
We actually have a good friend who works with Duke Energy, and it's been quite impressive with what they've been able to do in getting power restored. But there's a long, long road ahead, and people are still missing. People are not in contact with their loved ones, don't have good cell service, don't have power, as I said, need food and water. And so please make every effort you can to contribute, and certainly we are too. With that said, I think everyone knows that we handle at Scott Wallace personal injury cases, as well as employment cases, workers' compensation cases. But we know we can help here. And Clint, with that, why don't you talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, we handle all sorts of insurance claims. As an aside, I grew up working in Mexico Beach in the summers. It's a special place to me. My granddad's had a business there, Wallace Pump Supply, for several decades. And we grew up there and know a lot of the people there. And we spend our family holidays. It's a place I really love. And so it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for everybody, but it's especially so when you're tied to Mexico Beach. And so they had it about as bad as anybody. So our thoughts and prayers are certainly with Mexico Beach and everybody else that's experienced this. Today we wanted to dedicate our show to things you need to do with insurance claims following a hurricane and kind of explain some of the basics. A lot of people don't know this, and parts of it are rather confusing. The first thing you need to do is document things with pictures. So if you have any type of damage, the best thing to do is go around and take as many pictures as you can. All sides of your house, inside, outside, every room, your roof, everything that you can do to document it is going to be evidence that is there later, okay, that we can use. Let's talk a little bit about the differences in types of insurance policies that can apply here. There's two main types of policies that come into play with hurricanes. And the first is a wind policy, which comes into play obviously if there's damage due to wind. And our whole area that was affected by the storm is likely going to have the wind claims come into play because everywhere experienced the wind claims. The inland areas, that's going to be their primary or only source of compensation.
Right, no storm surge.
No storm surge. The second type of claim you can have is a flood claim, which obviously the storm surge affected areas are going to have those claims as well. And often what we see in those coastal areas is that the flood insurance and the wind insurance point their fingers at each other. Neither one wants to accept the responsibility for the loss, and there's a big battle over whether the damage was caused by the storm surge or the wind. And so
which is the last thing you need, right?
The last thing you need in a situation like this. And the insurance losses here are going to be catastrophic, and we've seen in past hurricane, this is where they really try to lowball offers and try to minimize the total amount of money that total exposure the insurance company is going to be responsible for. Okay, so that's the two different types of insurance policies that come into play for individuals. For business owners, we've had some clients that didn't even realize that their business policy provides coverage for things such as lost profits that the business is not able to get either by virtue of being closed, like in places like Mariana and Jackson County and Quincy and all around our area, St. Mark's, Mexico Beach, Panama City, businesses aren't open right now. And eventually they are going to be able to open, but when they are open, their customer base and business is not going to be the same, because there's not going to be as many people that live there because they've had to evacuate and their houses aren't ready. There's not as many tourists that are coming through. And so even though they may be open, their customer base isn't the same, and they're not able to make as much money as they were before. And so businesses have a claim for these lost profit damages. Now, quantifying those lost profit damages is where it gets tricky. The insurance company typically quantifies them at a lot lower level than the actual damages. And we hire experts, work with businesses' accountants to go through and make sure that the business gets adequate compensation, gets what they're owed, not what the insurance company tries to lowball.
And we dealt with this several years ago with the BP oil spill, handling these types of cases for businesses at our firm, and
Sure.
So we're very familiar with this process, and it will, as Clint said, it will not be the type of thing, unfortunately, as we've experienced, where it's an open and shut kind of deal. There's going to be let's just call it a negotiation to be as friendly about it as we can. So.
Sure. Now, another part of an insurance policy that a business is likely going to have, which is really valuable, a lot of people don't know about, is that the employees of the business, oftentimes they're in a situation where they've had to evacuate, or they don't have power, and they don't have paychecks coming in because the business isn't making any money and there's no way to pay them. The insurance policy typically is going to have a provision that allows payroll to come in on schedule and help the most vulnerable, the employees down the line versus the owners, which is an important part of this. And our firm helps with that. And as a matter of fact, we help with that part of the claim for free, because we want to make sure that these people that are already dealing with so much don't have to worry about where their paycheck is going to come through. And so that's another aspect of it. Now, obviously, the businesses are going to have the same type of property damage claims as the individuals, in that their business, the roof may be messed up, or the walls, or the computers and equipment inside. And so ultimately, that'll come in as well.
Yeah, and along those lines, as far as the lost revenues that Clint was talking about just a few minutes ago, we're handling those cases on a contingency fee. So again, that means there's no fees or costs unless we recover for you. And we're not going to settle a claim for you unless it's what's owed. So there's not going to be any type of negotiations, any type of settlements that result that is not full and fair compensation.
Sure.
So.
And oftentimes the insurance company has to pay the legal fee, and it depends on the situation. But we're happy to talk to anybody about their situation and their insurance policy, and see if we can help. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. A big issue here, we've got some clients walking in.
Yeah, it's all right. We're live.
Okay.
It's part of it. We're not shutting down here.
So a big issue is that insurance policies have time limits. You have a certain amount of time to bring a claim. So insurance companies, like I said, have a giant exposure here. They're trying to do anything they can to limit that exposure, and they try to enforce these time frames. And it's policy dependent, but we want to make sure that the policy or the claim is reported in time, and even if the insurance company denies it, that you still may have a valid claim. Don't just accept on the face what the insurance company says as the end-all be-all. Okay?
Exactly.
But if possible, we need to report this as quickly as possible to make sure that the claim is preserved, and to make sure that payroll is still coming in for the employees.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what we want to do for everyone out there who's owns a business or operates a business or works for one, and has been devastated financially as a result of this this catastrophic hurricane. So
sure. We were in Franklin County a couple days ago. I was in Port St. Joe in Gulf County, and we'll be going to Mexico Beach. So if you see us, don't hesitate to come over and ask any questions that you have. If you have a policy with you, or you have it on your phone, we're happy to look at it there. We can answer any questions that you have about your claim, and we're happy to do it.
Yeah, and if you have a question about your residential claim, feel free to call us.
Sure.
If it's not something we can help with, we will get you to the right spot. There's certainly avenues to recovery there as well, and again, there's, as Clint mentioned earlier, there's potentially ways to make the insurance company pay your attorney's fees if you have to hire an attorney to help you with one of these storm claims.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in today. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Give us a call, 850-222-7777 in Tallahassee, or 850-215-5555 in Panama City.
And we know the character of everybody out there involved, and we will rebuild and we'll come back from this, and just know that everyone here at our firm is thinking about you.
Okay. Y'all have a great day, and let us know if we can help you.
Thanks.